Hey Dan, I just watched your sarcasm-free video and I must say that I'm very impressed. Um, Also, the funny thing about that video, go on YouTube and watch it. Forward up to about the 3 minute 5 second point and let it play from there. And tell me if it freezes at the 3:10 point. When I was watching it, it froze somewhere between 3:08 and 3:10, and I couldn't get it to play past that point. It just stopped playing. Even if I grabbed the time bar and I pulled it forward, it would snap back to 3:09, 3:10 and would not play. So, being the ever-creative person that I am, I logged on and I went into the video from the user side and I actually downloaded the MP4 and I was able to watch the whole thing that way. So and that's actually happened once before with one of your videos. I don't remember if I actually mentioned it or not, but that I wasn't able to watch the whole thing, and I don't know if that ever happens with mine or not. It's almost like there's a skip or a glitch at that point and it just stops. So anyway, I thank you for that information about Everton. I'm actually going to go and try to find some of the highlights so that I know what the hell you're talking about. Obviously I know what you're talking about, but I'd like to see what you're talking about. And again, you seem to be expecting something more from the blogosphere than one-off comments. I think you're being unrealistic. Again, find a couple of people who, are reasonable and actually critical thinkers and blog with them. But just reading general comments, I mean, who knows what yahoos are going to write. So, it's funny. I really like your assessment of the games because it's not based on whether they won or not. And again, I think in the U.S. people are so caught up with whether they won or not that even if you start talking about the sort of critically breaking down the game and how individual players played or how the team played, then the response is, well, you're just sore because your team lost. That's not it at all. You're actually interested in how they played, regardless of winning or losing. That for me is the interesting part. And I do that same thing with swimming. At the last meet 2 weeks ago, one of Marshall's peers was swimming a 200 IM, which is 50 fly, 50 back, 50 breast, 50 free. There are prescribed techniques you have to use when you're swimming each of those, especially at the touch, at the wall. And on backstroke, when you are going from backstroke to breaststroke, you actually have to touch the wall while on your back, and then you can flip over or you can flip around or however you want to do it and take off in breaststroke. Whereas if you're swimming backstroke and let's say you're going to touch the wall and you're going to be turning and then coming back and continuing backstroke, you can actually, with one continuous motion and one stroke, flip over onto your stomach, flip turn, push off the wall coming up on your back, and continue that way. So this kid, his name is Caleb, touched the wall, or flipped over onto his stomach as if he were going to be continuing backstroke, touched the wall, and then started breaststroke. And he got disqualified for that because you actually have to finish the stroke on your back. And so afterwards, I said to him, I said, "Man, that was a great race. You really swam those 4 lengths strong. You paced yourself well." And his response was, "Well, I got disqualified." And I said, that doesn't matter. I said, it matters in terms of, are you going to use that race to qualify for the state meet? No. But you have other opportunities for that. But what you have to look at is, how did you swim each of those legs? And, how did you pace yourself? And was your technique good? And, except for that one mistake, it was all very good. So, and to get people to focus on that. I know you felt sorry for me out there at that meet, but actually, much like you with soccer, I love being around it. I love watching it. I love watching the little kids. I mean, and I think I've talked about this before. You've got these little 8-year-olds doing butterfly. They can barely get their arms out of the water on the recovery part of the stroke, and it's just, and to watch them really try and work hard, I consider it incredibly enjoyable. But actually, there was this swimmer today. It was the last race. It was a 400 free relay. So 4 people, each of whom does 100 yards of freestyle. And I saw the high school coach. His name is Steve Burt, along with a couple of other people watching. And I said, what are you watching? And they said, well, watch this last swimmer in lane 3. She's 10 years old. She's a Winona swimmer. And so as soon as she started, I started my watch. And she was swimming 100 yards. And she did the first 50 in 32 seconds. And she did the closing 50 in 37 seconds for a total of 109 for the 100. As a point of perspective, there's what's called the 100 or the 1 minute club, and it's those people who can swim 100 yards in under 1 minute. And it's not easy to do. Many high schoolers can't do it. And so it's not easy to swim, that 100. And so it's very common for high school swimmers, most of them, to swim at somewhere between 1 minute and 1:10. And to see this 10-year-old girl do it in 1:09 was just, it was really cool to watch. And she was swimming hard, but for starters, she's built like an arrow, you know what I mean? Very thin, very long. But what she does is she keeps her body entirely streamlined when she's swimming, presenting as little surface area to the water as she can, or at least to the oncoming water, and she really cuts through the water well. So it's funny because, like you, when you're watching these games critically, I'm doing that with all the swims, and I'm watching all these swimmers, and I'm actually learning things from them, and I'm appreciating the things that they're doing that's allowing them to swim faster. Sometimes it's a matter of willpower. It's a matter of desire. They can swim faster, but their legs are killing them, their arms are killing them, their lungs are killing them, and yet they're going head-to-head with somebody in the next lane, and you see them put that slightly additional effort into it to pull forward and to pull ahead, and those moments are really cool. In fact, I usually get so excited about those things that I forget what I'm supposed to be doing, which is actually watching for technique and watching for proper turn and proper stroke. So I was not bored, even though it was 4.5 hours long, and half of the meet I'm the starter, which means I have to blow the whistle every time. What you do is when the last person in a race passes the flags, which is about 5 yards or 5 meters away from the end of the pool, you blow the whistle 5 quick times, 5 quick blasts. And that's to signal the swimmers in the next race that it's time to get ready to get up on the blocks. As soon as the race is done and all the previous racers get out of the water, you blow one long whistle, and that is the signal for the swimmers to get up on the blocks. You don't tell them, oh, get up on the blocks. You blow the whistle, they get up on the blocks, and when they're all up there, or at least all that look like they're coming, then you give it over to the person who starts the race, They say, take your mark, and they boop, they hit the button and off they go. And there's, automatic timers for each lane. But the whistle, gets to you after a while because you're blowing and blowing and blowing, and it's very loud, and So anyway, but like I said, I enjoy being around it. I was actually talking with Steve, the high school coach, today about clinics and what clinics I could go to, because I want to learn not only how to get better myself, but also how to be able to coach it. This past Thursday, I coached my first Masters swim Thursday morning, because Glenn, who I think you know, he was in Grenada for a month with Lisa, and now he's up in Banff with Lisa. Lisa's working up there with a string trio. It's not a contest, but it's a, I guess it is a contest, isn't it? Anyway, it's a yearly thing that she works up there about 6 months of the year for. So anyway, Glenn's up there. So Kurt's coaching by himself for 3 months and has no break. So I offered, if I could help out. And the SMU coach said that was fine because that's where we practice. So anyway, so what I did is I created a workout. You can see all my workouts up here. They got all wet, so I had to hang them up dry. I created a 3-tiered workout so that for any given set, I had, maybe let's say we're doing 50s, for example. I had, group 1 doing 8 50 yards on 1 minute interval, and then group B was doing 6 50s on a minute 15 interval, and then group C was doing 4 50s on 2 minute interval, so that everyone was finishing at about the same amount of time, and people were able to swim according to their ability, but still keep their heart rate up and keep the workout moving along. So anyway, I really enjoyed that. But so no, I didn't find the meet boring. But that's not what I came to talk about. I came to talk about the draft. No, I didn't come to talk about the draft either. Yamaha. Thank you. That's really cool. I, of course, would love to come out there. The question, of course, is I'm imagining, I'm not even talking about it. It's actually 11:46 my time, believe it or not. But Beth and I have been playing Scrabble with Taff and Ann, and I've had a lot of tea to drink. It was all heavily caffeinated, and I'm not going to sleep anytime soon. So. So anyway, I've not had a chance to talk to Beth about this because I just watched her video. But part of me suspects that she's got some plans for a Yamaha, such that I might be sorely missed. Also, I had loosely planned on at some point in February driving down to Atlanta on a 4-day weekend and just visiting fam down there. That's the kind of thing that if I mention it to my mom, and I think she might expect me down there. Not that I'm definitely going or not, especially given the things that are going on in business right now. So anyway, but I'll let you know. I will figure out after bringing flowers to Beth and making her dinner, I'll broach the subject and see what comes of it. So anyway, I'll let you know. But I really appreciate the offer, and I'm so thankful for your wife's not necessarily ill-gotten gains, but let's just call them gotten gains. Seems like I had something else to talk about. I don't know what it was. And we're approaching 15 minutes, so I'm going to render myself in a state of semi-consciousness which will result in my being still dead.